yeah, 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 look, ball player, no watching from the side. Said that you got him next, well go ahead and show him why. No limits in the sky, go ahead and take your shot. This one is for the city, let's show him how we rock. Coaches used to call my phone, what you doing?
What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Up Next podcast, the podcast where we tell you who's up next in youth sports. Of course, as usual, heavy on basketball. We got a very, very special guest, actually, special guests, plural, for you today. But first, of course, I'm Jamal Murphy, and I got my guy Khalid Green in the house. What's up, man?
Peace, man. I'm happy to be alive during some crazy times here in America. But we have, like you said, we have two special guests on. I saw this young man play this summer, and his motor stuck out to me. He has a skill set, but his motor is what really stood out. And I'm just blessed that he's on with his father today, so we get to know more about their journey.
No doubt, no doubt. Our guests today are Matt Abel and his father, Doug. Matt is a 6'5" shooting guard, class of 2025, top 30 in that class. So we know he's doing big things. Originally from Baltimore, Maryland, currently in Paris, Florida, playing for is it Sagemont Prep?
Yep, Sagemont Prep.
Sagemont Prep School out of Fort Lauderdale. Um, he had originally committed to Miami. That's correct.
Yes.
And he's reevaluating the process. And he currently has offers from, aside from Miami, Baylor, Alabama, Tennessee, Virginia Tech, and many others. But, we're going to get into that in a minute. But thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
No doubt. So, Matt, let me get it started with you, as we usually do with our young phenoms. I got to ask you when it all started for you. You could take me back to when you first touched a basketball, if you remember. But how did it all get started?
Yeah, so I would say when I was like 6 or 7 is when I first started, just shooting around, just trying stuff, like just starting to, play basketball, not at any type of competitive level, but just like, just starting to play the game. So it was mainly because my dad, he's the one who got me into it at first and started just like playing and whatnot. But then I think, after I started playing, then it started turning into like a love of the game and just I really enjoyed doing this. So, but my dad definitely got me into it to begin with.
So, I mean, obviously you're far along in your journey. At this point, one of the top, at least one of the top 30 players in your class of 2025. Obviously, since you first started playing, it took a lot of hard work to get to this point. So just tell me about that journey. All that went into it. Because a lot of people think people are just talented and their talent carries them the whole way. But obviously, there's a lot that goes into it. So just tell us about what you remember about the entire process.
Yeah, so I would definitely say lot of hard work and just hours and hours put like in the gym I put into it, and especially my dad being there for a lot of those hours too. So I would say, I mean, that's mainly really what I remember, just the hard work and just the hours put into it. Those are the big things, and then also like just developing my game over the years, because like I feel like the game is a lot different now, especially just off of like if you can shoot the ball, you can usually find a spot on a team anywhere. So that was a big thing. And, that's something I pride myself in, being an elite shooter. So I would definitely say that's something that, I think of when I think about my development and my progress.
Yeah, so I'm gonna jump in here. That's one thing I watched you this summer, and I'll be honest with you, it was the first time I saw you because I spent a lot of time on the Nike circuit before that. So I saw you play a couple of games, and one I noticed that you could shoot, but a lot of times when guys can shoot, that's all they do. They're more finesse kids. And what I noticed about you, you play with an edge. Now that I realize you're from Baltimore, that kind of explains things. But you play with you play with an edge, and you had a motor, and that's what stood out. Tell us about other things that you bring to the game besides, just your shooting.
Yeah, no, I would say the other big thing is being able to guard a lot of different positions. I feel like I'm able to guard 1 through 3, 1 through 4 in certain situations, which is a very, big thing, at least, in the next level and then in the NBA. So I feel like I'm able to do that pretty efficiently. Obviously, going to college soon, I need to put some weight on so I'm able to do that, productively. But I think that's something I have the ability to do and something I'm really good at. And I would also say just being a really good teammate and making winning plays. I think that's something that I do all the time. To be honest with you, like I feel like a lot of kids they can score really well. They can do a couple different things really well, but in terms when it comes to like making the winning play, they might think selfishly. Whereas the way my dad taught the game to me and brought me up, it was mainly just like, yeah, you're gonna have your chances and times to go get yours, but you have like if you want to win championships, then you have to rely on your teammates because it's a team sport, and making those winning plays is very important.
So, Pops, speaking of you, tell us, what the process has been like for you. Like ever, going back to when he was 6'7", and you were just introducing him to the game, and then now you're all the way at this point now. Like if you could put, I don't know if you can put this into words, but if you could try,
Well,
you
he
know.
almost did just now with that big smile, man. He's proud. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, very, very proud. And I mean, it's been an amazing journey. Um, you know, as both of you know, basketball and sports brings people together. And it the sport has created a special bond with Matt, and also a special bond with my younger son as well. But this journey has been it's been a kind of a microcosm of life. Um, you have really, really high times where things go well, um, times where you're just working to get better, and then times where things don't go well. Sophomore year, high school, you know, Mac is undercut, breaks his wrist, out for the whole high school season. It slows down his process, his development process. But then he jumps on the EYBL circuit, and that 16U season has a slower start. So that's the turbulence we had to go through. And each week he played better and better and better. And we fast forward to now, top 30 in the country. Uh, that's some of the higher times. So you see a lot and do a lot and have to persevere. And throughout the whole process, work hard, because one thing I can say is no one gave Matt, anything in terms of ranking, in terms of, uh, a leg up. He had to earn it all. And that's something I'm proud of him for that, because, he could have complained a lot, but he didn't complain. He said, you know what, let's buckle down, let's work even harder, and let's make sure we take care of business.
Mm. Matt, so, going back to that injury, sophomore year, do you think that might have helped you in the long run, or what was the impact of that injury now that you look back on it?
I think that's one of those things where, like, obviously, like, I learned a lot from it. I don't know if I could say it was better in the long run, but I will say that where I am now is definitely, obviously, due to the hard work and the circumstances. But I don't know what position I would be in if that didn't happen. So
Right.
I'm not 100% sure, but I would definitely say that I learned a lot from that injury, mainly because it was my right hand. So that whole time I was injured, I was working on my left hand. So that was something that got extremely better, to the point where now, if I'm being honest, I prefer driving left am driving right. You know, I dunk with my left hand, don't really dunk with my right hand as much. So that's definitely something that worked out for me. I think I made the best of a bad situation, but it was definitely something that, you know, I learned a lot from.
And Douglas, to piggyback on, you know, some of the things that you said, like, how would you, what advice would you give to other parents on how to navigate this whole basketball ecosystem? Because you've seen, like you said, you've seen the highs, you've seen the lows, and you know, you have one of the top prospects in the country. So you've done something well. You know, what advice would you give to, like, you know, other parents?
I think first piece of advice I would give is allow your kids to grow, allow them to fail, and allow your kids to be exposed to high level competition. Um, you know, a lot of people out here, they feel comfortable and they feel good about what their kids doing because they're winning trophies and they're the top player in the gym. As far as I'm concerned, if Matt was the top player in the gym, then guess what? We need to move to a different gym in order to get better. And I think that is a real key to making sure your son or daughter develops to their potential. That's the first thing. The second thing I would say is, you know, and I struggle with this. I struggle with this myself. But the other thing I would say is be quiet, sit down, do this, sit down. On the ride home, don't blast the coach, don't blast other players. Let your kid kind of be after he competes. I think that's a big part of letting them develop and grow. The other thing I would say is, you know, as parents, as your kid gets older, you have to step back. Yeah, as they grow, you step back. As they develop in the game, you step back. The more your son develops and grows, the more parents have to step back and let them take care of, you know, and things that need to happen. And the last thing, you know, I would say is make sure your kid is in a position to not only play basketball, but to train with the right people. There are a lot of people out here, say the trainers. There are a lot of people out here who want to teach you a triple crossover behind the back, between the legs, whatever. And none of it's useful.
Right.
Master the fundamentals, because when you really are out there competing, you don't have time for all that. And one thing that I think Matt does well is, and I've heard it from college level guys and beyond, is, you know, he's very efficient. You know, he gets to it right away. You know, if he's got a advantage, he's going to take it and get to it. And that comes from training. It comes from being around the right people, and, you know, going from there. There's too much people reading too much about the kid and thinking this and that, and all of a sudden you get parents with, you know, big heads. It's like, my son, he hasn't done anything yet. Right. I mean, he's a good player, and I think he's doing well and he's on the right path, but he hasn't done anything yet. In this game, you don't do anything until wire transfers come in.
That's a fact.
Okay? That talks. Everything else, yeah, it's nice. But,
right,
you know, he hasn't done anything yet. So I kind of take it from that perspective, more of an old school, hard-nosed perspective.
Matt, obviously your father's been influential in your career, but who are some of the other people that have played a big role in your development?
I'll definitely say my guy Advanced Performance. When I first moved to Florida, he's the guy I lifted with. His name's Trevor Vance. I've been lifting with him since beginning of 8th grade year when I first moved down here, and he's really helped me, not only put on weight, but also just building my body. Like strong, legs strong, increase my vertical a lot. Like he's done a lot of things that have really helped me on the court. So that's a really big person that I really appreciate. And other than that, I would say there's been a lot of trainers that I've trained with, just throughout. When I lived in Atlanta, Double Trouble training, they were really good. And when I moved down to Florida, I would definitely say Austin Lee. He's someone I trained with a lot. He was the main person I trained with when I moved down here, and he still, like, whenever I'm back at home, like I have a break from school, I'm training with both of those guys on a daily basis. So those two guys, other than my dad, for sure.
I got a question for both of you. It's not a trick question, but there's not too many guys that I know have. Well, there are, but you played on both Nike on the EYBL circuit and the Adidas circuit. Is there a level, and this is from the perspective of a parent and the perspective of a player, is there a difference in competition?
Oh, I can answer this. Nah, I would say Nike's more talented in terms of like the talent each team has, and then the talent of players. But if you're looking at like what teams are better, I think Adidas is just as good, if not better, because you have like Adidas teams like Indiana Elite who have been playing together since it's literally 6th, 7th grade. They've been playing together this whole time, and it's just it's just them, and chemistry is amazing, and they play together at a very high level. So like you got teams like that, and I think that team for team, Adidas is at the same level as Nike. Nike probably has more talented kids, but there's also a lot of Nike teams that like have no type of like they just put 5 kids out on the court and they're like, all right, here, go ahead and play. And they're not bad because their team is so talented, but you go up against a team that's just plays together and plays the right way. It's tough to beat those teams when you're a team that's just playing, just for yourself.
Absolutely. Douglas, what's the differences that you've noticed? It could be on the court, off the court. Just want your perspective.
Wow. Differences, in the game as well as differences in my son. I mean, differences in the game, everybody wants to be around the arc, around 3-point line. And I think what we're starting to see is the analytic world is useful in a lot of ways, but, in terms of winning basketball, its usefulness is diminished because the mid-range game is really where a lot of things happen nowadays. You look at the top players in the league and in college, they got mid-range games, getting a piece of the paint and making plays from there. So that's the biggest change in the game, and also the physicality.
Hey, Dad, he asked you about Adidas and Nike, the circuits.
I didn't even hear that because I was.
But I was gonna come back to that.
But that was a good answer too.
That was a good answer.
I was guessing.
Matt had to pull your card on it.
I had to re-pop in. I had to
no doubt
go back out. But no, in terms of Adidas and Nike, look, honestly, if you are already ranked and established and you're on the Nike circuit, life is good. If you are a developing player, I think it's more challenging to get on and get noticed and get the recognition you deserve, quite honestly. And I'm not down in Nike. It's no shade on Nike. It's just that's just how their circuit is built.
Oh no,
Uh,
no, no. We're not going down because my man might get. We're not gonna
yeah,
mess up any transactions.
no.
No wires are gonna be messed up.
Exactly. And I mean, Adidas is great. Just because you're a high level player, you get that shine. But if you're a developing player like Matt was last year on the circuit, you can blow up on it, and
Hmm.
they
That's what he did.
they
And
then promote
they
you
they
crazy.
encourage it. They encourage it, and they are like, this is our guy. Like if you show that you can really play, and you prove that, hey, like I'm a top level player, they're gonna do everything to push you. Like this guy can really play. Like in terms of just like Adidas All American camps, different camps and stuff like that. Like it's a very good like just circuit for players that like the position I was in, which was like I wasn't ranked at all. Like I didn't have any ranking or anything. And I just proved that I'm a really high level player. And then they were like absolutely like just encouraging it and boosting it up.
That's good.
Let me ask you about that. The rankings, I mean, they mean something, but they don't. You sound like you've kind of been through both sides of it. You're top 30 now, but you weren't ranked previously, and obviously you were good. So how do you look at the rankings? As far as you're concerned, like, did it bother you? Does it mean anything to you? Like, how do you look at it?
Yeah, no, it definitely means something because like obviously like as a kid, like you want to have that ranking, like being like a 5 star is like what's what everyone is trying to work towards. So it's definitely something that I feel like it wouldn't make sense for me to be like, no, I don't care about it at all. Cause like I do, like everyone wants that ranking, but I also feel like it can't determine like what you think about yourself. Like if you're not ranked high, you can't just be like, man, I'm just not good. Because I mean, like, I knew I was good, but like I also when I like I said I broke my wrist. I didn't have the best UIBL like beginning to my UIBL season, so it was kind of like I just hadn't fully had the opportunity and the platform. I think that's a big thing. So I was never there was never one point where I was like, wow, like I just really like I feel like I'm behind, like I'm not in the rankings, like no one's really like I'm not up there yet, but it was never like I doubted myself because of it, I guess. It was more so just like I know I'm good enough to. I just need to get on the right platform to be able to show everyone what I can do, which was a big thing because there's a lot of kids that are really good, but like they just don't have the platform or maybe they chose the wrong AU team and stuff. So it's kind of difficult to figure out to get on the right platform, but once you do, it's for sure
I,
possible.
I I totally agree, and I'm gonna give you a perspective. I scouted in the NBA for 9 years, um, and I never went by anybody's opinion of anything on purpose. I didn't want their opinion going into the game. I wanted to see the kid for myself because I trust my own evaluation skills to know what I'm looking for and what a pro looks like. So, um, oftentimes, and I agree with you, there are so many kids that go over, they're overlooked. But a lot of times that's because everybody's like a herd in this. They're following the same kids on a regular basis and they don't have a real vision. I'll tell you something from my perspective. The only ranking that really counts is the third week in, I think, June when it's the NBA draft. Because those are the those are the top 30. And after that is the next 30, which is second round, but they're still getting drafted. So
Right.
that's the one to worry about.
Right.
And I just mentioned one thing about this whole rankings and where, and when you mentioned you were a scout for a long time, um, one thing I saw in the process, mass process, that was really, it got down to like real talent, real evaluation, and all these rankings and things get thrown out the window. And that's when you get to that NBA top 100 camp.
That's right.
You get there, all of the bullshit goes out the window.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Ever you see some guys that are supposedly highly ranked didn't get an invite, And then you see guys who you have no idea who they are. When they step on the court, by the end of the game, you know who they are. And I think that's one area within the high school kind of setting that is just a even playing field, and I think they do an excellent job of just finding talent.
Yeah, that camp was very good. That was kind of what started like I believe I had like got my first like high major offers like a couple like 2 weeks or like a week before the top 100 camp, and I left there with like I think Georgia, Northwestern, Virginia Tech. Like I had like a lot of like high major offers just leaving there, and then from there it was like people know my name now, and then I went into that last 3SSB finale with a lot of like just momentum, I guess.
Yeah. And shout out to the people behind the scenes that know what they're doing, because I know you and I know somebody who is a voter, and he knows the game, and that's why I love to hear that they're opening up to other people to invite them, and not just the herd or the so-called guys that they think they're supposed to always bring in. There's a lot of talent out here, and it's just about finding them.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt, back to on the court. Describe your game. If I had never seen you play, how would you describe your game?
I would definitely say a 3-level scorer for sure. I feel like I scored at all 3 levels very well. I definitely would say I'm an elite shooter. I think I'm probably, in my opinion, I think I'm the best shooter in the class. I think I'm a versatile defender as well, but I would definitely start off by saying a 3-level scorer.
And what are some things, parts of the game that you want to work on, particularly, this summer going into, big time college basketball?
Yeah, I'd definitely say I would probably say finishing through contact, especially, college is a lot more physical. It's very physical and very you got playing against grown men. So I would definitely say finishing through contact and finishing at the rim better overall. Because, I feel like I'm a good finisher, but, when you go have a 7-foot dude that's 25 years old, it's a little bit different than going up against a high schooler. So
That's right. That's right. The new college game, the 25-year-olds. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
and the JUCO kids now.
And the JUCO kids now, yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, it's real. It's real now. Speaking of college and the process, so you were originally committed to Miami. They had a coaching change. Is that what changed it? So Larrañaga leaves. So what's your thought process on it now? I guess just generally, like what are you looking for in a school? We know what schools are heavily recruiting you, but like what's your mindset in terms of how you make your decision?
Yeah, so I definitely obviously like building that relationship with the coaching staff is like the biggest thing, because like if you're going somewhere and you don't trust the coach, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like I feel like you have to be able to trust the coach and his staff following. So that's a really big thing. Excuse me. I would also say, I don't, me personally, I'm not like I would say like with the location of the school, that doesn't really play a huge part in where I decide, but definitely this play style is the next very big thing, or if not the number one thing. Because like if you're going to a school that there's different schools and they have different play styles, maybe it's fast paced, maybe they play through their bigs, like there's stuff like that where like you have to think about, well, where are my goals? And for me, my goal is obviously the NBA. So does this school put me in a position to make it there and allow me to showcase what I can do? So those are the two really main things that I would say.
What's your time frame in terms of making a decision, you think?
Probably in the next month and a half, something like that. I don't have like a set, like, okay, by this exact date, I want to have chosen my school. But, it's a little bit hard, like right now for me at least, because I just took some unofficials at different schools and whatnot. But, they have the NCAA tournament, they have different stuff. So it's kind of hard to get an exact time because, they might get be first round exits, and then they might win it all. So which
Right.
a couple of like Tennessee and Baylor and Alabama, like all those schools have very good chances to make it as far as anyone.
Right.
Right.
So so it's a little bit difficult for me to say exactly when. Obviously, I want to get it done sooner than later, just because honestly, the recruiting process is very long. It's a long thing, and it's definitely a little bit. It's a blessing, but it does. I would say to a certain extent, it does get like a little bit tiring. And I'm still in school right now, so I would definitely say those are some key things. But I'm not sure exactly when I want to have that cut down to.
Right.
Sounds like it'd be a nice. You'll have a feel for it with your
Yeah.
family.
Mhm.
Yeah, you'll have a feel, and you have Big Douglas over there who's going to make sure that
Yeah.
the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Well, that's what I was going to ask too, Doug. What do what as a parent, what do you look for in a school? Obviously, it's your son's decision, but like, what goes into it for you?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time thinking. Very small group of people. It's the inner circle that we really talk through a lot of things. I think the first parameter is really, do we feel comfortable with the coaching staff? Okay, are these people I want around my son? Do I generally trust these people? Okay, that's a number one. Number two, and it really is 1 and 1A. I don't know which one really comes first, but the other thing is the academic standard of the school. Some are higher than others. Just understand what we're walking into in terms of quality, because the academic piece is non-negotiable. Matt is going to go to class. Matt is going to move towards getting his degree. That's a non-negotiable. So that's kind of 1 and 1A. The other thing is campus environment. Is this a place where I think my son will be comfortable walking around campus from a safety standpoint, but also just from just comfortable, as a young Black man. That's an important metric. Playing style, obviously, is it more of a up and down kind of a style where you're asking players to make decisions instead of being a robot and trying to use every piece of the 35-second shot clock. Because you get some college programs, that's their strategy. And that's really not a place I really want to see him playing at. Those are really the main metrics. And if you noticed, there's none of those things involved or are related to NIL. Because we're not going for I call it the banana in the tailpipe trick. We ain't going for that. Okay, because that's how you make a dumb decision. In corporate world, in the basketball world, if you're chasing money, you're doomed to fail. Make the right decision for the development, and then all the other related things, like checks, will happen. It'll happen. Make the right decision.
Right.
Be in a comfortable environment to be the best version of yourself. That's what we're looking for.
So no technology will work on the Gables, huh?
Nah, not going.
No doubt.
I hear you. All right, this has been a pretty deep conversation. But before we let you go, Matt, I'm gonna dumb it down a little bit, and I'm gonna give you some rapid fire questions. Tell me off the top of the head, what your answer is. All right.
All right, I got you.
All right. Favorite NBA player?
Anthony Edwards.
Favorite college player?
I don't really got one. I just kind of watch everyone right now.
Okay.
Oh, that's the competitor in you. I hear you.
All right. Favorite women's player.
All time, probably like Candace Parker.
Okay. Favorite subject in school.
Math,
Biggest hobby outside of basketball.
video games, if that's a hobby.
Yeah, that's a hobby. Favorite music artist.
Rod Wave,
Favorite sport besides basketball.
probably football.
What's your go-to move right now on the court?
I like doing a delayed tween. So it's kind of like a delayed tween, and then I can do a lot of combos out of it. But that's how I like to start and set up a lot of my moves.
Okay. And then finally, the best game you've ever had on any level.
Ooh, that's tough. I'd probably say I had a really good game against Compton Magic at the 3SSB finale. But no, I can't even say that because we lost. I'd probably say again, we played RWE in the Bahamas this season.
Oh, here he goes.
Yeah.
Yo, edit this, man. Edit this.
I definitely gave him 30. So that was
Yeah, I know. I heard.
that was a really
I
good
thought
game.
you were gonna stay with the Compton Magic, man.
Nah, but we lost that game, so I can't even count that.
Yeah, man.
Well, Compton, they friend of the program too. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, man. I got the word. This phone was ringing off the chain when you got that 30-something, man. Trust me.
Oh man. Well, that's it for us, man. This was a great conversation. Thanks for giving us a chance to get to know you, both of you. This was great. This will be great for the parents that listen too. A lot of jewels were dropped on this episode. But once again, this has been Matt Abel and his father, Doug. Matt, of course, class of 2025, top 30 at the moment. Still deciding on a college. We'll see what he does. But whatever you do, we'll be watching and we'll be rooting for you. And, obviously, there's no question there's great things in your future. Got a, great head on your shoulders. That's the most important thing. So sky's the limit, of course, man. But thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
All right. Great stuff. Like I said, a lot of a great conversation, a lot of jewels dropped. Parents can learn a lot from Doug Abel.
It was a great conversation. Like I said, what I really got out of that interview is the importance of fatherhood as well.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's guiding this young man. There's a trust factor. There's obviously a respect, and then obviously a natural born love that they have for each other. And the sun is shining, but the father's in the back helping guide the son, to through the journey. And I think that's so important for other parents to hear that your advice is definitely necessary, but there are times, as Douglas said, when it's time to pull back a little bit and allow your son to shine on his own. But great interview, great young man. Whoever gets him, Alabama, Tennessee, whoever gets him is going to get one of the best players, but also one of the best people you can get. And you can, and it just, his character just pours in through his interview process.
Yeah, no question. He was talking about team, being taught growing up that it's about team, that you got to rely on your teammates. So you know what you're getting as far as that. You're going to get a team player. You're going to get some, obviously he's very confident in his game. That's very important. And his journey too, right? Fighting through adversity, the injury, never stopping, not worried about the rankings, but then in the end you get what you deserve. So, and he's gotten that. When you see him on the court, what do you see from what you've seen?
I see a prototypical two guard. 6'5", can really shoot the ball, athletic. He didn't really talk about his athleticism, but he's athletic. And I also see he hit it on the head. He can guard 1, 2, 3. I think he's highly competitive, and as I mentioned before in the interview, he has a high motor. So he checks all the boxes that, you know, NBA scouts are looking for two guards. Like I know for a fact, if I was, you know, still a scout, he would be at the top of my list as somebody to watch going into, you know, his freshman year.
No, great stuff. So, you know, we'll be watching him. We'll see what his decision is. Got some great choices there, as he said, like Alabama, Tennessee, but also Miami with new coach Jay Lucas.
Yep.
Virginia Tech, I think he mentioned. So, you know, we'll see what decision he makes. It'll be fun to watch. Where you at now?
I'm in
You're
Brooklyn.
You're not in Brooklyn. Oh, you're back in Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn for the next
Okay.
day and a half, and I'll be in Atlanta on Thursday.
Okay. What finals still going on?
Finals still going on. City Reapers and Young Dreamers are tied 1-1. You know, it's exciting. So, you know, the first game looked like an old version of the Knicks versus the Bulls, or
Oh wow,
Detroit versus the Bulls.
It was physical.
Oh, it was real physical. It was old school physical, man.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys got ejected out the game. The game stopped at least 2 or 3 times. So, you know, I was in my element. I don't know if everybody else was comfortable.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I started. I didn't even know. I was just looking through Prime. You know, on the app.
Yeah.
And I ran across the OTE. The show you guys got.
One Shot, the documentary.
Yeah. And you know, I'm watching it, and I guess it goes back to when the twins were there,
Right.
when the Thompson twins were there.
Right.
But it was great, man. I gotta promote that one. That was a good one. Everyone should check that out. What's it called?
One Shot on Amazon.
One Shot. Yep. Yeah, it's really good. You know, goes into, you know, Overtime Elite, what you know, the backstory, the inner workings of it. Obviously tells you, you know, brings you behind the scenes in terms of the players and the kids, and, you know, a few of whom are in the pros now. So and others who are playing big time college basketball. So it's very, very good watch, man.
Absolutely.
But of course, we're out of here for this episode. Thanks to our supporters. We appreciate it. Keep listening, keep watching, keep subscribing on YouTube, sharing and all that good stuff. Follow us on social media at UpNext_pod on Twitter, at UpNextPod on Instagram, Up Next Podcast on YouTube. Like I said, keep liking, subscribing, smash the like button, all that good stuff, man. And we'll bring you more and more. It's all, you know, it's not going to stop.
Not going to stop. Peace to everyone, and stay safe.
Yes, stay safe. Stay safe in these times, for sure.
Yeah.